What's up, how's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast which Soul Magazine describes as the one that initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists, allowing fans to discover the creative workflow of the favorite musicians and understand the factors that make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are also sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs. Get $100 off your tablets. Code CVPod at darkfusionsystems.com. Click the podcast below. Let's go to our feature presentation. We're going over to France for this one with a brand new album from the band Novelists coming out called Coda. We have Camille on the podcast today. We talk about the creation of the album, Camille taking over as front woman for Novelists, lead vocalist for Novelists after previous male vocalists, the transition that was like, the strength that her and the band had to get through the initial wave of negativity that initially comes with the change of vocalists, and how Coda shows the next era of the band and the expansive sound that we have going forward. You guys ready for this one? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast, we got to go over to a place with heavy music that is currently being so heavily focused in on that there's a lot of good things coming out of that country. I'm talking about France. Everyone knows what happened in 2024 at the Olympics in Gojira. We've had bands like Resolve on the podcast. And of course, everyone knows how good Landmarks is doing. And there's one other band, especially in the heavy music scene, that everyone knows. And I finally get a chance to talk to them today and get to talk to this amazing woman here as well. With a brand new album called Coda coming out on May 9th. Trust me, you're going to want to enjoy this one. It's a good one. But let's talk all about it. So please welcome Camille from the band Novelists, the podcast. So Camille, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Hello, thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you.
You made a mistake, so I can fix you now. It's the album is going to be out the 16th of May, not the 9th.
Oh, it's going to be out the 16th. I already made a mistake. Wow. Well, good thing when I say that on the video on the bottom, it'll actually say the 16th and not the 9th. So when everyone hears, it'll be like, Kevin, you already messed up. Well, everyone gets one, right? Well, first off, how are you doing today? Of course, we're getting closer to the album release every single day. So how's everything feeling? How are you doing with this album release? Like, just how you doing right now?
We are so excited about the album. I'm feeling so proud about this record. We worked so hard last summer creating like 10 songs for this new album. And yeah, we are so excited for people to discover it and of course listen to it. So yeah, we can't wait.
Well, it's going to be something that is going to be even more interesting for people to discover as well. I know you took over vocal duties for the band in 2023, and prior to that, the vocalists had been male vocalists. So especially going from a band that a lot of fans knew as having male vocalists, all of a sudden you coming in. Of course, there was an EP that dropped in 2024 where everyone got to see where the direction of the band was going with you. But going into writing Coda and working on that, what was that process like, especially with you fully into this and really being able to show where the band's sound is going to evolve, especially with you as the lead vocalist now?
Yeah, exactly. When we did the EP, we were still figuring out how to work together. And for this new record, like the big album, we were really happy to work together. And I was feeling at my right spot at the right moment. And yeah, I think this is like Coda means end of a chapter, and we wanted to do like, okay, this is the new chapter of Novelist. This is me. and we wanted to like not forget about the past, but just go further, forwards to the new album. And yeah, it was hard times working on this record. It was because of the deadlines, but it was we had a lot of fun doing this.
Gonna have to just blame those deadlines for everything, making it so much harder. Can we just have no deadlines so that the music can just grow on its own, and then when it's fully ready to come out, that's when we get it?
Yeah, but it's also hard because we were touring the US in April 2024. We had the summer free, except some festivals, and then September Northland tour in the Europe. Then we did Australia, Japan, Asia, like China, and we didn't have time. So we had to record the whole album during the summer, and it was really stressful, a lot of pressure, but we did it. So we are happy about that.
But you did it, and the final product is going to be here for everyone to listen to. And I like what you brought up about the fact that it's, with Coda, end of a chapter, end of a part of a story, where you're seeing again where this part of where Novelists is I'll say the transition period of you taking over as vocals, where that transition period is coming to a close, and now it's fully into where the band is going to be going and how great this is going to be with this album, and again, where the future is going to come and what the future is going to hold.
Yeah, you said exactly the right thing. It's it's like, okay, say goodbye to the old songs, to the old lyrics, even though you can still listen to them. Now it's like it's a new novelist, and it's fully with me, even in the creative process. For the previous song, there were some songs that were written before I joined the band. So now all the song I was part in the creative process. So yeah, I hope people will be happy to hear it, and they will discover the new novelist.
Well, they're definitely going to discover the next phase of Novelists, the next chapter of Novelists. And I was recently talking with somebody, I cannot remember who it was off the top of my head now, but it was a great conversation. I think it was with the guys in a band called Moon Fever, where we were talking about how albums are perceived now, where back in, before streaming, before everything was so single dominated, albums were seen as like a story or a collection of a sound or songs. But now, because everything is so single dominated, it's how does that album come into play? Well, that album is a collection of, like, again, songs for that time period. It's a collection of a record of that time period of what you were feeling, what you were going through, and how that sonically was going to be portrayed. So essentially with Coda, we get to see that as the first collection truly with you as vocalists and with you going forward and where the band is going to go. So those other albums are not going to be, forgotten about. It's just a part of the journey. It's a part of that set time period that we can go back to if we want. That's still part of your history. But of course, looking a little bit more towards the future to where the band is now, where the band is going to go, and how this is going to continue to grow.
Exactly, and musicians are human beings, and they are evolving, and of course the music also is evolving. If you're doing the same thing as 10 years before, it means that you're not evolving, you're still the same person. And we were talking about that. I talk about that a lot in the creative process. We discussed with the band, we talked, and we wanted to do something really different, like original. And I always say that if you're not disturbing people, or if you're not shocking people with your music, it means that you didn't create something new, or you are just creating what people are waiting for from you. So yeah, we tried to do something really different, and we are now thinking to the next album. And we're like, okay, how are we going to do also something different than this album? So it's always creating new stuff and trying to be as much as possible original.
You have to be as original as possible, because if you're going to be trying to follow along with trends, or you're trying to do the exact same thing that was successful 10 years ago for you, then you're not being authentic to yourself. As time goes on, like you said, humans, we evolve, we go through different things. I think about where I was 10 years ago in 2015 and where I'm in 2025. Man, it just a huge, massive change. And you could probably say the same for yourself as well. Everyone could say the same for themselves. So, of course, our ideas change, our thought processes change, how we look at the world change based on what we do, what our responsibilities are, what we care about more compared to what we did 10 years ago. And that shapes how we deliver things, how we look at things, how we connect with music, and how, as a creative yourself, how you want to create that music and express that in this way. So now in 10 years, even in the next Novelist record, it could be different, but it's going to be an evolution. You're going to be able to see that step-by-step process as a fan going through this. But that's the beauty of music, and that's the beauty of what we love about music as fans, and why we connect with it, because it shows the journey of a band throughout time, and we can connect with it because we go through a similar journey of evolution throughout life.
Yeah, exactly. And music stay. So if you want to listen to
Mhm.
old song, like you can still listen to them. Like they don't have to do the same music every year. And yeah, you still have to accept that musician and bands are evolving and music are evolving. I'm always hearing or reading fans that are not happy with the band that they are listening to because it's different.
Mhm.
But I don't. I always take this example of the Spanish singer, La Rosalia. She's a pop singer, and the first album she wrote, it was like really old classical flamenco songs, and the next album it was like fusion with a kind of hip hop and electronic music with flamenco, and the next one was really weird. The first time I heard this album, I was like, "Wow, well, what did she do?" And then I listened to it again, and I really like the fact that she's really splitting people, like, or you like it or you don't like it, and it's like it means that she's creating like new stuff.
Yeah, and that's something that again we want to see in our artists as well. I've always looked at it this way. I would much rather have an artist that I like make music that they like and continue to do it for a long time, even if I'm not into it, than make one more album that I think is great, but they just don't connect with it and then they stop making music forever. I also think my favorite band of all time, Rise Against, where if I listen to their first three records, they're much more aggressive. They're much more upfront, in your face. And as time has gone on to their latest records, the aggressiveness is a little bit more subdued. But the beauty of how they deliver their message through a poetic sense has increased. So the delivery and the passion is still there. It's just the sound has evolved over time. We're humans. That's what keeps us coming back. And that's what allows artists to continue to express things in so many great ways. If you don't continue to evolve, then you're not going to be able to expand your own sound and expand what you want to do. And perfect example, look at Bring Me the Horizon. I always bring them up in this case. From their first album to what they did with Posthuman Next Gen and everything in between, you see that evolution, but take a look at what they've been able to do with their music and with their career. It stands out as that's the way to go.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And for this album, we had like personal hard times, like breakups and grieving, and it was really hard. And we put our whole heart in this music, and we had also different experience than 10 years ago. So of course the music is gonna be different, and we are really proud of this album because it's really what we felt at this moment, and we tried to put as much as emotion as we could. So yeah, hope people will like it.
I hope so too. But before diving into the album really much more in depth, there is something I do want to ask, especially taking over as vocalist in 2023 and taking over as a female vocalist with a band that has primarily had male vocalists beforehand. When it came to taking over as vocalist, what were the reactions you were seeing from not only fans of the band, but people are just fans of the genre as well? And what has the reaction been since that now they've been able to have an EP with you? They've been able to see you perform live and now with a brand new album coming out. So what has that whole process been like from your perspective?
So at the beginning, before we released the first music video, Turn It Up, and before Novelist announced the new singer, like the boys prepared me. They were like, okay, people will say that they hate it or that they miss the first singer, they miss the second singer, they're not happy with that. So they just prepared me. But for me, it was like the biggest opportunity of my life to be the new singer of Novelist, and I was like, I'm just gonna take only the positive comments, only the positive aspect of being a singer in a metal band. So when the first music video was released, there were a lot of hate comments, but I didn't take them personally because they were just like saying like female should not sing in metal, should not scream in metal, like metal is not for a woman. I was like, okay, this is just dumb people. I don't care. But it was like a lot of haters, and in the other hand, I also understand them. Like when you have your favorite band, and there is a singer and then they switch to another singer, I totally agree with that people that they feel a little bit betrayed, or sad to not have this singer anymore. So I don't blame them, and I understand them. But I'm like, okay, so this like half of the people were happy and the other half no, and I agree with them. And then there was the first shows, and a lot of people were coming to the show, like after the show at the merch stand, and they were like, "Okay, I was a little bit skeptic, but I'm happy now. I saw you live, and it's cool." And then more and more people, like the haters, they just went away, and it's okay. Like it's okay. You cannot please everyone, and we gained a lot more fans, and with the new songs people were more engaged with the new music, and now I have like, I think, 5% of haters. Like they always be they're gonna be
Mhm.
there always. Like it's all right, it's okay, they do the click for us, it's cool. And all right, it's like, it's they just behind their screen, and it's all right, because when we are in show, these kind of people, I don't see them, like they are not coming to the show, so it's all right.
One thing I absolutely have to commend you and the band when it came to all of this was not only the strength that you had to jump into this and to be prepared for everything, but what the band and the rest of the members were able to do right away by saying, this is what you're going to see. This is what's going to come your way, especially when you release this. And they're prepping you for that, and they know what's going on. They already are seeing that. They know what's going to happen. So at least they're able to lend that support right away and create that feeling of they have my back. There's that chemistry there. But then the strength for you to be able to jump into this and not be negatively impacted by those negative comments, because you know exactly, there's always going to be haters at some point, especially with the vocalist change. There's always going to be people that are going to go online and spew whatever kind of hatred they can, or always request and say, oh, the other singer was better, especially when it goes from transitioning from a male vocalist to a female vocalist. This isn't anything that I was surprised at, but what I'm incredibly happy to hear about is that as a band and as an artist yourself, you took it fully in stride with the strength that you have as a band and as an individual, and continue to go forward with it. And then when people got to see you live and fully experience it, they took to it because they saw all of that genuineness in there. When people finally got to see you live and they finally got to see more of what Novelist is going to be in the future with you, the acceptance of that and being able to be open to that, that is something that is fully on the band, fully on you, and the strength you all have this together. You're still going to get that 5% of people that are always going to be angry online, but hey, you're getting all the positivity over that too. So that's the important thing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just keeping the positive comments. I know the haters are just sad people. They just need more love in their life, and it's all right. And I'm just having really a good time during shows, and I know people are also having fun, and they all come at the end of the show to tell me that, okay, I belongs here. Or they saw some previous interviews when I was saying that I have to prove that I belong here, and they're like, okay, like you rock, girl. It's so cool to see women on stage. So I know there is a lot of support for women on stage now. So I don't feel the negativity at all now.
That is something that is fantastic to hear, and that's what I was hoping for, and I'm glad that that's the case. I do want to jump back into Coda though, because I know we don't have as much time as we maybe have for some of these other episodes. But there's one question I always like to ask artists about brand new music and a brand new album that's coming out. So at this point in time, I will not ask what your favorite song is, because that's like asking you to pick a favorite child. It's like, how do you do that? I'm going to go at it a little bit differently. At the moment of recording, there are a couple singles out right now, but not the entire album. Let's take a look at the songs that have yet to be released. So out of the songs that have yet to be released, which is the song you are most excited for people to hear, and why?
So I think All for Nothing, because of the music video, or that's still hard. Yeah, or maybe Say My Name, that is released now, in March. Yeah, this one also is gonna be a good one, because it's a little bit different. It's the first song of the album,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I really like the chorus, and the way we create this song with Nico, the bassist, it was like a fusion of our ideas for the chorus. And yeah, we are really proud of this one, and I think this one people will like it. I hope.
Well, I was gonna pick two of them myself, and the one I was gonna say was actually "Say My Name." Of course, by the time we record this, the "Say My Name" wasn't a single yet. But again, it'll be a single by the time it comes
Yeah.
out. But the reason I was gonna pick "Say My Name" was this was when I was going through the entire album, and every time the album restarted and "Say My Name" came on, like I instantly got into it. I instantly was connected with the song. It right away when I listened to it the first time, it hit with me to the point where I said this opening song shows that there's going to be a little bit more of a progressive flair to the album, and you'll see a little more of that emotional side of it, but with you fully in front of the band as well. The way the progressive flow works, some of the dynamic contrasting snare pieces, it just allows so much to be open for the rest of the album to really not only show where it can go, but also show where Novelists can go with your sound, with their sound throughout the rest of the time. Like it's the perfect opener to the album. It's the perfect opener to this new chapter and this new era of the band. The other one I was going to say was track number 6, Adam and Eve, because of the bridge, the sample that goes in there. I was like, I'm not expecting this, but now I am all for it because I know exactly where that Pentecostal church sample comes from.
Oh,
But then
cool.
how it hits right after, I'm like, okay, this song has it. This is what I was hoping for. And this had every bit of that aggressive tendency I leaned towards. So that was the one that always got me. Whenever I heard that, I got super excited.
So cool. Yeah, this one I almost forgot about this one. But yeah. This one is really, really heavy. And it was also like for this album, I think there is a lot of risks that we took for like you'll see you
Mhm.
listen to the album, and there is some things that are a little bit different. And yeah, I'm really happy that you noticed the sample on Adam and Eve. And yes, Say My Name, it was not a hard choice to put it in first in the album. It was like like it was clear that it's gonna be this one. But yeah, I'm really happy about this one. There will be a music video out when the podcast is gonna be released, so I hope people will like it too.
I hope they like it, and I cannot wait for them to hear that Adam and Eve portion, because I will say this once again about that sample. Given the fact that it is a Pentecostal pastor sample, and it's just knowing, especially if you are of any kind of like Christian background like myself, knowing where that comes from, knowing the tendencies of that, and just how pushy and aggressive and over the top that can come, it perfectly fits into where the song is coming from and adds that extra bit of strength that song can really be impactful with. So having it in there was something absolutely got into. It was the perfect inclusion there. It was a risk that was 100% worth taking.
Thank you. We were hesitating putting it or removing it, so I'm happy you like it.
And the other thing too is if all of a sudden you get, the crazy thing too is you might get some, pushback on that, especially once it's released. But the other thing I thought about it too is when it comes to people that are of Christian faith and they hear that, and if they pick up on the fact that it was a Pentecostal pastor that said that, a lot of people be like, yeah, we know why they put that in there. You can't be mad about that. Like there's
Yeah,
nothing to be mad about with that at all.
yeah, cool. Yeah, we wanted to take risk for this record, so we're happy about that.
You take the risk to for the reward of your own creativity, of your own passion. And in this album, it came out to perfectly show this new era of Novelists in the perfect way, plus leaving so much room for what's to come in the future.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate the support. I really hope people will like for me, it's the first record with me singing, fully creating the songs. And like I don't have pressure because it's all right if people don't like it, it happens. But I really want people to listen to it and to feel what we wanted to share as emotions. And I really hope people will cry for some songs. So I hope this album people will listen to it like in 10 years, and still like it.
It's listen to it with the intent of letting the music hit you. Don't listen with the intent of, I want to wait for this one type of part of a song, or I'm waiting for them to do something like this. Just let it hit you. Let the risks hit you in a brand new way that you're not expecting. Feel what Novelist was trying to tell you in this album, or trying to express in this album artistically. That's the way to go about it.
Yeah, I really hope people will feel this way.
Well, Camille, I got two more questions I want to ask before we wrap this up. One's going to be pretty simple. The other one might give you a little bit of trouble, as it has with a lot of other artists, but I feel like you'll be ready for it. So question number one, again, because you corrected me, thankfully, May 16th, the album comes out. The rest of 2025, still open for people to enjoy the album, but also get more on Novelist. So what else is coming up in 2025 for you?
Ooh. Others music videos, we are working on doing another live session as we did in Lyon. A lot of festivals and touring again. We don't know yet the countries, but we're gonna tour for sure. We want to go to the US. We're gonna go back to China also. So yeah, a lot of shows, a lot of content, and that's it.
So a lot more Novelists for people to wrap their ears around and their minds around, whether it comes to a live show or, more things when it comes to hearing Coda and just everything that has in there. I do hope you come back to the US though, because I did not get the chance to see the tour last time in 2024, but now that's got to change. That definitely has to change. But Camille, I got one more question before we wrap this up. Is a question that has somewhat stumped people, but it's always one of my favorites because it gives us as listeners a chance to discover more new music and gives you a chance to help us get to know about some of the great music that's out there that we should know. So I'm going to limit it to 3 so we don't go overboard. Can you name me 3 bands or artists that you love that you would love to see more people get into right now?
Oof, okay. Now I get it.
Put people on the spot. Sometimes people get it right away. I get a lot of times where people are like, let me pull up my phone. I got to see what I'm listening to on Spotify. And I'm like, go for it. If that's going to give us the best answer, go for it.
Does it has to be only metal band, or
It can be any type of music you want.
Okay, I will say Tamino, Tamino, Tamino. I would say wait. I would say Moonball. Do you know this band?
I've heard the name before, but I've never listened to them.
So it's the guitarist from Landmarks and the drummer from Landmarks, and they did like a kind of rock band. So Moonball, Deserve More. And the third one, I think I would say Ashen, but they're already famous, but people should listen to it more.
There's some bands that we think are they're famous, but people need to listen more. And that's also what this, question is about. It's getting people to know the great music that you love that we think more people should listen to. Heck, if you ask me, I'm like, I still think more people should listen to Rise Against than they do. And it's like, they're a pretty big band, but more people should still listen to them. But those are 3 great picks. Camille, thank you for that. And I want to thank you for taking the time for joining us on the Chord Progression Podcast today. I really appreciate it. But I have to end this episode on 3 things. First things first, Coda by Novelist comes out on May 16th. I'm not getting that one wrong again. And what you're going to do is go to the description of the podcast where it says Find Novelists Online. Links and labels for everything. Social media, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, website where you can get some merch, find out where they're going to play live, stream the album, check out that, pre-order it, whatever you need to do to support the band and get in the know with them. All of it's going to be down there. I'm doing all the hard work. All you have to do is click the link, go, like, follow, share, subscribe, listen, buy, whatever it is. I got you covered. All you got to do is finish up the task. Get a Novelist. Now it's time for number 2, Camille. Whenever I have guests on the podcast or I join the podcast, I tend to make a promise as a way to say thank you. I appreciate you taking the time, and I wish to continue to support the band in the future, and this is how I do it. The promise is not an if. It is a when I get to see you perform live for the first time, because I still have yet to have that pleasure of seeing you perform live. At some point at the end of the show, I will come and find you. I will come and say hello to you, but that's not the promise. The real promise is first round's on me.
Okay.
Whatever it is, I tell people, even tell me, yeah, but I don't drink anymore. I'm like, Well, whatever it is, I said first round, not first, beer or cocktail. It's first round, whatever you need.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I will have vodka.
Alrighty. That means I have to have vodka too. Oh boy, my stomach might not agree with me on that one, but we do it because we care. And now it is time for number 3. I cannot end this episode by saying goodbye, Camille. This was fantastic. I enjoy having you on. I've been doing this for 6+ years now. I plan on doing it for a lot longer, and I would love to have you back on the podcast again in the future. So I also made you a promise. This cannot be goodbye. This is, I'll see you later.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you very much. And see you very soon.
Well, folks, this is my interview with Camille from the band Novelists, and now it's time for Kevin's final thought. I was really, really excited for this one because knowing that Camille took over as lead vocalist in 2023 after Novelists had male vocalists in the past, it's something that I had been following since that happened. I was curious to see how that was going to play out, but most importantly, I was curious to see how fans were going to take to it and evolve with it as the years went on. And of course, 2 years after taking over as vocalist with the first full-length album coming out, and she said it best when she described what it was like with the announcement, with the band being fully behind her, understanding and letting her know what to expect, the strength that she had to not let the negativity that initially would come forward with a change like that impact her mentally, emotionally, and let the music and let the performance and let the art speak for itself. And with the EP that dropped in 2024, people got to see what it was. With Coda dropping on May 16th, now I remember that one, I had to rewrite that down, but with it dropping on May 16th, you're going to see even more of that happen, and you're going to see more of that positivity hit with a band like Novelist. So it's very exciting to see that. This is an album that, again, I kind of started going through with this, waiting for some of the heavier parts, but I kept listening more and more, and when I fully listened to it with that expression of, I'm just going to let this album hit me whatever way it's going to hit me and being open to it, that's when it really took a lot further of a stride and was a lot better for an enjoyable experience and a great album overall. I want to thank me for coming on the podcast. When it comes to finding Novelists, go straight from the podcast. Links, labels for everything to discover the band line, follow along with them, get some merch, find them at live shows, pre-save the album, pre-order it, whatever you need. It's all down there. Please also hit subscribe on the Chord Progression Podcast here on YouTube right down here. If you're on Spotify or podcast, hit that follow or subscribe button. Hit the like button on these episodes as well to help push us in the algorithm. Comment what you think of this episode. Comment what you think of Novelists as well. Let's keep pushing this bad boy further to the moon. Yeah. Also, be sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Links are for the podcast below. Thank you, Camille. Can't wait to see you perform live for the first time. Because I didn't get my chance last year because I missed it, but we're not missing it again. On that note, that's going to be it for me, everybody. Thank you for watching, listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes. Big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah.